Hi everybody, this is Tal Aviezer from Cast Party. We have another great episode of Descent into Avernus for you today. Before we get started, we did just want to include a content warning here. The first third or so of today's episode contains some depictions of people in hell suffering that are maybe a little more intense than stuff we have done on this show previously, so we didn't want anybody to be ambushed by that. Thanks very much, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Podcast Party. Descent into Avernus.
My name is Renascence. My friends and I have commandeered our very own infernal war machine and set off across the hellscape of Avernus. We're headed for Haruman's Hill. Lulu says that's where we'll find Zariel's sword, which could be the key to saving Elturel.
I'm going to ask one of you, just one of you, to roll 2d10. If the two dice rolls match, you don't necessarily get to go where you wanted to. So who's going to do it?
Well, I'm the luckiest one at the table. What's the, is it 2d8 you said, Matt?
2d10, because you have a native guide.
My results were 10 and 4.
Okay, well, those are very different rolls.
Good.
We're just looking to make sure that you didn't get a 10 and a 10 or a 4 and a 4,
Yep.
which is great.
Got it.
You do end up actually going to Haruman's Hill.
Wow.
You drive through the vast wasteland of Avernus, traveling through, for some of you it seems to be hours or days, and for some of you only minutes. You do notice that the landscape is dotted with pits of black ichor and green acid pools and bone fields, quicksand. You can tell it's quicksand because there are souls that are still in it that you see from hundreds of feet off that are screaming for help, and yet nothing. Tar pits where you see the bones of ancient and enormous creatures that are still in them. Lakes of lava. From the horizon, you see an enormous, it's not a mountain per se because it's got a flat top. It's more like a volcano. Streaks of magma running down it. It's probably the most prominent thing that you see in your vision until you see the hill. The hill is essentially jutting out over the river Styx. As you approach the hill, wrought iron trees line the trail that you all drive through. And as you approach the hill, Wizen slows to a crawl, and he stops the machine. And you all see this steep hill, and all the trees lead to its summit, at the top of which you see an enormous number of these iron trees. I'd like you all to make perception checks.
Renascence got a 7.
Hylan got a 26.
Corbin got a 14.
Ofelia got a 7.
Hylan, you see them first. On the trees at the top of this hill, you see figures that are impaled upon them. Mm-hmm. And their bodies are still moving. They are writhing in torment. You also see that there are things flying in the air around these impaled figures. Small though they seem from this distance, there are many of them, and they're all flying like giant swarms in and around these figures.
That's a bit ominous.
Par for the course.
Wizen says, I'm gonna go ahead and park.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm just gonna park right here. Is that right?
Yes.
Because this thing's noisy, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's real noisy.
There's nowhere to hide, so...
Yeah, if we were to sneak up, is there any place we could hide?
It would be tough because there are just spans of a dozen or so yards maybe between each tree.
How many trees can we see?
You can see at least a dozen.
I look towards the summit if I can. Like, what do we see up there?
There is a very large tree at the very top.
Guessing whatever we came for will be up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think our best course of action until we have a better lay of the land is to just proceed on foot with as much caution and alertness as we can.
Should we put whoever that is, and I point to the top of the closest tree, out of their misery?
Think so, yeah.
How far up are they, Matt?
They're maybe like 7 or 8 feet, impaled on the branches, these iron branches, and some of them are just impaled directly through the chest, and yet they are still breathing. They are still moving.
Should we approach the closest one?
All right.
I can
Kinda
just
wanna
throw at them.
Stop their suffering. I could sacred flame them too.
You think we should see who it is first?
Yeah, and then I think if we're going to do it, we should do it in the quietest way possible.
Matt, can we sneak up to the closest one?
If you would like to, yeah, that will be a group stealth check.
I'm gonna cast guidance on myself.
And I'll cast guidance on myself.
Hylan got an 18.
Ophelia got a 10.
Corbin got a 19 plus 2, 21.
Renaissance got a 7.
It's really a wash. So I'm going to have Lulu sort of make the final thing here.
As usual.
She got a 5. She bonks into Renaissance. The individual closest to you that's on the tree, his eyes open, and he just sort of moans. He goes, "Ah! Help me!"
And we see in any more detail now who or what he is?
As he has lifted his head to look at you, does seem to be human. He is dressed in armor, and as his head rises off his chest, you see that emblazoned upon his chest is the symbol of Elturel, the Hell Riders.
Are his wounds something that someone could actually survive, or are they just so bad? Something else is keeping him alive.
I would say the latter. You don't even need to make a medicine check.
Hylan, can you take him out?
I have a feeling nothing we do can, but I'm willing to try.
We've gotta try.
Can somebody hold me up so I can get up so I can touch him?
What are those creatures doing, Matt?
The creatures are not here at this level. They are further up the hill.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, I'll pick Hylan up.
I'm going to put my hand toward his face and say, I can end your suffering.
He says, No, you can't. You can't. As you get close to him, you do see that hanging around his neck is a small sign. And this one is written in Infernal, in some kind of red fluid. And it says, Rogel Dishish, Coward.
I come down because I can't read Infernal.
Oh, you can't?
No, and I say, but I recognize it, I think, at this point. And so I tell them that there is something around his neck. I can't read it. Unfortunately, I think Ofelia can.
I can lift her up.
I can indeed speak Infernal, so I am able to see this.
He's being kept alive artificially. There's nothing we can do for him that I know of.
Zariel's original Hell Riders.
Why does this sign say you are a coward?
She put me here. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Please.
In my head, I'm going to say, Melitium, this is too much. What can I do? What can we do for him?
I say, Hylan, take him out. I draw Heaven's Fall, and I'm keeping an eye on those creatures to see if we're attracting their attention at all.
Okay, make a perception check.
5.
You don't notice if they're coming down. They're mostly seemingly focused on something up at the top of the hill.
Hylan, I can do it. It'll make a flame and they might see it, so...
I don't think we can do it. Do you feel that we can do that? Because he's saying that we can't.
If you don't do it, I will. Don't want him to suffer.
I'll do it then. I don't either, but I think what I'm going to do is stab him and he is not going to die.
As you're saying this, Rogel looks at you and he says, Please, just let me alone. I've been here for so long. Why are you here?
We're here to put an end to this. We're here to bring Elturel back, and I want to help you, but I don't know how.
What do you mean back?
Elturel is here in Avernus. She's had it pulled down here. Do you understand?
Oh gods! And he just loses it, like he just starts weeping. He is inconsolable.
How high up is he?
8 feet?
Corbin is going to reach up and see if he can pull him off the tree.
Oh,
Make an athletics check.
in a downward motion? You can't pull him up. It's sticking up through him if you pull
Right,
down.
he's going to push him up and then bring him down. Oh, that's a 21.
You yank up, and he does, in fact, start to come off the tree. And as he does so, his face begins to light with potential hope. And then you watch as the iron branches fasten almost like a hook directly into this individual's chest. and he screams in torment.
This won't end until we stop her. There's nothing we can do for him. I wish that we could. We're just gonna make it worse.
What are all of your passive perceptions?
17.
Corbin's is a 20.
Corbin, you're sort of lifting this guy off the tree branch, so your head is up anyway, and you're looking up at the top of the hill, and you see something glinting up there at the top, or close to the top, of that large tree at the very top of the hill.
Something glinting like metal?
Perhaps.
There's something glinting up there. Can you see it? And I point up to where it is.
If we can't help him, then the best thing we can do for all of them is to finish our mission and get the sword. So let's get up there.
Can I try? Corbin's going to cast Sacred Flame on him.
We can't help him.
Dex save. He's impaled.
Yeah, he's restrained. He has disadvantage on this. That's a natural one. He fails miserably. And this beam of light streaks down, and his flesh begins to sizzle, and he screams with even more agony and torment.
I just scream no.
Sorry.
Have to leave them.
Lulu starts to sort of fly backward in abject horror. I don't like this place. I don't like this place.
I was trying to end it.
I know, Corbin, it ain't your fault, but the best thing we can do for them is get the sword.
Corbin, in your mind, you hear a very familiar voice. She says, "Ooh, that was kinky. I like the way you think."
I have nothing to say to you.
There's a switchback road that brings you up to the top of the hill. All along the way, there are figures that are in the same unfortunate state as this first guy that you found yourselves next to. They're screaming in pain, they're screaming for release. As you pass by them, they reach out with their fingers, because that's basically all they can move, towards you. And when you finally do reach the top of the hill, perhaps 100 feet from its bottom, you see that there is an enormous iron tree. As you view this tree, you see that these knights, these anguished knights that are impaled, are now accompanied by these creatures that you saw at the foot of the hill. And they are small, they have insect-like wings. They sort of resemble an oversized bulbous mosquito crossed with a bat.
I know what these
It has sort of beady eyes.
Oh, no.
Its skin is like a mottled orange.
Yep. Oh,
and they
yes.
have
Are they
needle-like
sturges?
proboscises.
I knew a kid who had a pet sturge. At Elmater School for Friendless Boys.
Yeah, it's basically a mingling of an oversized mosquito and a bat.
Yeah.
And it loves to feast on blood. Each and every one of these figures has something hanging around their neck. Their name, and then the word coward. The greatest concentration of these sturges is around the figure at the very top of the hill. He's wearing almost all white in his vestments, and around his neck there is some kind of holy symbol. It's one I don't think you're familiar with. Go ahead and roll religion.
Corbin got a 60.
Renascence got a 9, but my background ability is to recognize any religious regalia or vestments.
Okay, I'll give you advantage then.
In that case, 18.
Renascence, you know it. Old religion. It's based on the current religion of Lathander, the god of the sun. But this symbol is a sort of stylized version of Lathander's symbol. But you recognize it as the symbol of the god Aminator. The figure, however, that is impaled on this tree doesn't seem to have seen the sun in a very long time. His skin is absolutely the whitest of pale skin complexions. His hair is a dirty blonde, his eyes are closed, and his vestments, although perhaps at one time brilliant and white, are now stained with blood. And there are sturges on him.
How close are we to him now?
30 feet?
And where's the glinty thing?
That is the symbol around his neck.
Corbin's going to touch Renascence and give him a vigilant blessing.
Cheers, Corbin. I barely noticed Corbin doing that. My eyes are fixed on the man. I'm going to pull out the dreidel and spin the cord.
It spins, it goes through Fiend, it goes through Celestial, and it's pinned on Undead.
What are you doing here, Sunshine?
He looks up at you, as you say this, and he says, Sunstar, not sunshine.
That's your name? Sunstar? You a priest of Amarantor?
No, I was a follower. His voice is harsh and seems like maybe that is the result of God knows how many hours, days, years, of screaming. But as he speaks and says the words Sunstar and says not really, you can see that his teeth are long and sharp.
You ain't like them. I point down the hill to all the other crucified men. You're really here.
He says, yeah, I am.
Were you already dead when you came down here with her?
Yeah, mine is a long and unfortunate story. I don't think you'll have a lot of time for it, but I guess down here we have all the time in the worlds.
Came here looking for a sword. Her sword. Is it here?
His brow knits, and he says, sword? Whose sword?
Her sword. Just with my foot, I draw a Z.
Yeah, he looks down, nods, and says, no sword here. Not hers, anyway. Lulu starts to sort of look between the four of you and says, But I saw it. I know his hair. I thought it was hair. I'm sorry.
Look at him, Lulu. Was he with you?
Lulu looks at Sunstar and says, I don't. And then her eyes go from the ground to his. And she starts speaking almost like when you were on Torm's bridge, like she's in a fugue state. And she says, I remember you. You were the one. You joined Zariel, and then you fled. You betrayed my love. And then she sort of flies slowly towards him, and he looks down at the ground like he knows what's coming. He says, I didn't think anyone would ever know, but when I chose to face the sun after I left this world and throw myself on Aminotor's mercy, my prayers fell on deaf ears, and my soul was condemned to the 9 hells to suffer for my sins. And Lulu stops, and she sort of looks at Sunstar, and she says, Jander, I forgive you. Jander Sunstar looks at Lulu and says, I don't think that's going to help me very much, but thank you. And Lulu sort of turns and begins to float away towards the edge of the hill.
Hylan, I think he might be different. I think we might be able to cut him down.
Okay. How far up in the air is he?
He's about 10 feet up on the tree.
Renascence, can I get a boost?
Yeah, I'll lift Hylan up.
Corbin's going to watch the Sturges.
Sure, make a perception check.
29.
Holy crap! As you watch the Sturges, you see that they're flying to and from Jander Sunstar, and the way that they're flying indicates that they're actually flying to the other victims, drawing blood from those victims, and then injecting that blood into Jander, just to keep him alive.
I think the bug bats there are feeding him.
I think this whole blasphemy is mostly about our friend Jander here. Ain't that right?
He says, I led the retreat, so this place is called Coward's Way for a reason.
I think this whole tableau has been arranged for him. Maybe it's Haruman's hill, not because Haruman lives here, but because Haruman did this to you. Is that right?
He looks at you with a certain degree of fear in his eyes when he hears the word Haruman. And he says, Haruman. And he starts to look up into the sky. He says, if you're going to do something, I suggest you do it quickly.
Can Corbin lift him?
He's 10 feet up the tree.
I will lift Corbin up.
Yeah, go ahead and make an athletics check.
I will give myself guidance first. Okay, that is a 10 total.
It's tough at first. You know, it's not the most graceful lift. Corbin scrabbling all over you and sort of like stepping on your shoulders, then stepping on your face, but you do get on top of him.
All right. And Corbin will try to lift this guy off the branches.
Now you can make an athletics check.
Can I guidance myself being up here?
Yes, I will allow that.
That's a total of 13.
You yank him off. It's unpleasant, The branches sort of like tear through him and he screams as the iron limbs are retracted from his chest and you pull him out. And as the last vestige of this iron branch comes out of his back, you see this look of intense release come across his face and peace. He grabs you by the chest and says, "Whatever god you serve, it is the right one." Jander Sunstar's face starts to crack and his hair begins to float off in wisps, and his whole body, within the matter of 6 seconds, turns to dust and flies away on the wind. And all 4 of you are made aware of a very angry buzzing sound from behind you and in front of you as the Sturges group to attack. Let's roll initiative.
Hi, everybody. The show will be back shortly for the second half. As always, we're offering monthly free online adventures with our dungeon masters. These free games fill up quickly, so if you'd like to grab a spot, you should join our email list or our Discord server. Links to both can be found at cast-party.com. If you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. It helps a lot. We'd love to hear from you. Message us on social media or email us at info@cast-party.com. Follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, Twitter at CastParty2, Instagram at cast_party, or TikTok at cast_party. Thanks very much for listening, and now, back to our adventure in Avernus.
Let's roll initiative.
Incoming.
Ofelia rolled a 10.
Renascence got a 20.
Hylan got a 19.
Technically, Corbin, because you are within 10 feet of me, you can add 3 to your initiative.
21 plus 3 is 24.
Corbin, it is your turn. What do you want to do?
Corbin would like to say, Ilmata, protect us. Everyone get in close to me. And he is going to cast Spirit Guardian.
Awesome.
Little butterfly hands are going to flap, 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 flap all around him.
15-foot sphere.
And that's going to be my turn.
Renascence, it's your turn.
I see what Corbin has just done. There are a few Sturges that are inside the Spirit Guardians. Are they hovering low enough that I would be able to hit them with Heaven's Fall?
They are 15 feet in the air.
In that case, I'm actually going to ignore the Sturges that are already inside the Spirit Guardian spell. I point at the closest one outside the Spirit Guardians and whistle. And that is going to be a DC 14 Wisdom save, and I'm hoping they're dumb as fuck.
Yeah, they got a 15.
Oh, no, he made it. So nothing happens to it.
Who
And
knew?
That's my turn. I just
Professor
stay right near
Sturge.
Corbin.
Who knew? Hylan, you're up.
Okay, I will back up 15 feet so that I am in the Spirit Guardians, and I will throw 2 blades at the Sturge that is 10 feet away from me. Critical miss, and the second one is a 10.
A 10 will not hit. This thing sort of dodges in and out of your blades.
And then the 7th level characters were killed by Sturges.
Yeah, it's just too fast and agile. I'm just gonna watch it now and see if I can figure out how to hit it next time. Stay where I am.
Ofelia, it is your turn.
I will move closer toward my friends so that I am in Corbin's sphere. And I think, how do you insult a Sturge? This is why it's taking so long, because I'm like, how do you viciously mock a Sturge?
You suck.
You suck. It works.
Yeah.
Small proboscis works.
She picks up her violin, says to the Sturge,
You literally suck.
and I cast Vicious Mockery. The one closest to Corbin, I think I'll give a shot.
Wisdom saving throw?
DC 15 Wisdom save.
Yeah, it fails with a 3.
Great.
Gonna take 5 psychic damage.
It pops.
If they start their turn in the Spirit Guardians, if they fail their save, they take 13. If they make their save, they take 6.
Either way, anything that starts in the Spirit Guardians is going to get splatted because they're Sturges, and Sturges don't have a lot of hit points. So it doesn't matter for the two that you currently created the Spirit Guardians in, they splat. So that leaves you with a total of 17 Sturges left. These 17 Sturges see this sort of butterfly-like array of magic around you. And they don't dive bomb like jet pilots into your Spirit Guardians. You know, that would indicate that they have absolutely no intelligence at all. They simply go around to the target that is outside of your Spirit Guardians entirely, and that is Lulu. She's over by the edge. So Sturges can fly pretty far. They have a 40-foot fly speed. So they all converge on her. All 17. Because they are tiny, they can take up the same space as her. But I'm going to say because Lulu is a small creature that you can't have 17 Sturges on Lulu. That would just not make a lot of any sense. I would say Lulu is probably big enough for 6 Sturges to be on. And the rest will just sort of fly closer to her. None of them attacking, just all sort of being in her space. That is the Sturge's turn. Lulu sees this literal horde of Sturges flying at her, and she's like, ah! And she just emits this high-pitched scream and begins to float out over, instinctively, she just floats out over the edge.
Come over here, Lulu. Come here. I sort of slap my knees and hold out my arms. Come here, Lulu.
She's blocked. Make a persuasion check at disadvantage. She sees all these Sturges running, or flying, I should say, in her direction.
Yep, up and around, Lulu. Come on. That'll be an 11.
Oh no. Lulu is freaked out of her mind, and she just flies the opposite direction. She disengages though, so she flies probably 30 or 40 feet out over the river Styx. Corbin, it is your turn.
All right, sorry, I gotta move. Corbin is going to go 30 feet to his east, kind of where near Lulu was, with a lot of the Sturges all around him. And while he's concentrating on his Spirit Guardians, the Sturge that's farthest out, he's going to cast Sacred Flame. DC 15 Dexterity save.
He got a 21, unfortunately, so he dodges out of the way.
Oh, I missed him.
As this Sturge zooms in and out of the way of your Sacred Flame, you see flying in, pretty much making a beeline for the top of the hill, a figure. This figure is about 300 feet away from you, and he is flying on a horse, but this horse has no wings. This horse has hooves that are lit with flame. Its mane is flame. Its eyes are flame. And riding atop of this flaming steed is a creature that is covered from head to foot with midnight black armor and is wielding some kind of flaming spear, maybe?
Does it look like the gentleman that we saw on the promenade in Elturel?
Exactly like that. It is a Narzugon, but he is 300 feet out. So that is your turn, Corbin?
Not quite. Corbin would like to point out this thing coming in. We got something flying in. And then with his bonus action, Corbin is going to use a feature called Steps of Night, where he can fly, but he is not going to fly. He's just activating it, but he's going to hold off flying. And that is my turn.
Yes, as Haruman, who you can only assume this is, only because all of the impaled knights suddenly scream his name in unison with reverence and fear. Renascence, it's your turn.
I'm going to charge forward away from the tree into Corbin's Spirit Guardians, and then I point my devil sign at a Sturge that is outside the Spirit Guardians and whistle. DC 14 Wisdom save.
It got an 8.
Great.
So it pops like a ripe tomato. Hylan, it is your turn.
Okay, I'm going to run into the Spirit Guardians myself, and I'm going to throw 2 Psychic Blades at one of the other Sturges that is outside of Spirit Guardian. 18 to hit.
I guarantee with one blade you will decimate it.
Yep, I killed that one. Okay, then I will throw my second blade at this Sturge here. That's a 23 to hit. Also kills it. And I'll stay where I am.
2 Sturges gone. Ofelia, it is your turn.
I will follow my friends so that I am once again in the Spirit Guardian circle as well. I will attack the Sturge that is the farthest away from me on the closest edge of the Spirit Guardians. And once again, I will use Vicious Mockery, and I will say,
No, seriously, you suck. For real.
Buzzing in assent, it rolled a 17.
Fuck that. I will give Lulu bardic inspiration if I may.
Great idea.
Sure.
Yes, I will say, Lulu, you've been to hell and back once, and I know you can do it again. Just remember that we're all here with you.
Sturge time! Lots of popping, I'm assuming, is going to happen right now. Because all of these Sturges that start their turn inside your Spirit Guardians just explode. Pop, 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 pop. 2 Sturges left, sort of driving almost Lulu towards this nightmare. The nightmare, the creature on which Haruman is riding, has a fly speed of 90 feet. So it will double move, dropping it from 300 to 120 feet from your position. It could get to Lulu on the next turn. Lulu sees this creature flying directly at her, and she sees the Sturges as well. She disengages and flies.
This way, Lulu. Come towards your friends who you love and trust.
So she flies directly at you guys. Except there's a problem in that something flies up over the edge of the cliff that was hiding the whole time. And that is a creature that interposes itself directly between you and her. It has a thick protective carapace, thin metallic wings, and 6 legs ending in sword-like talons. This creature rises up directly between you and Lulu, its red compound eyes glowing in the horrid gloom. And at the end of its bulbous abdomen, you see a 3-foot-long barb, which from your position you can see quite easily drips with some sort of greenish fluid.
No!
It looks at Lulu, and you're almost sure you hear it chittering softly, but it sounds kind of like it's giggling to itself at the thought of rending poor Lulu limb from limb. It is a hell wasp. Surprised by said hell wasp that Lulu sees now in her way, and she's like, oh gosh, oh no! She flies sort of like left of you. She doesn't want to get anywhere near this thing. She doesn't want anything to do with it at all. She doesn't fly completely far away from you, but she still stays hovered out over the river. Corbin, is your turn.
Corbin sees all this, and he goes to the edge. What do I see below me? Is it the River Styx?
Yeah, it's about 500 feet down.
So he's going to stop at the edge, and he's going to get the Hell Wasp in his Spirit Guardian. He's going to reach out with his big bugbear arm, and he's going to try to smack it. And he's going to cast Inflict Wounds. 16?
A 16 will not hit.
Oh!
Damn it.
I got him! Oh, shit, I missed it!
It sort of swivels in midair and
It's sneaky! And he doesn't want to go over the edge. That's it. That's his turn.
Renascence, it's yours.
Okay, I run to the edge of the cliff, I reach behind my back, and I pull out the magical silvered pike that I looted from Chukka, and I swat the wasp with it.
Okay, so you're putting away your shield to do so?
Yes, and that is a 27.
Okay, cool. That'll hit.
14 points of piercing damage. I'm going to drop a level 2 Divine Smite on it.
Yes.
Is it a fiend?
It is a fiend.
Great.
That's going to be 4d8 radiant.
32. 32.
23 and 14 is a total of 37 points of damage.
Yes.
Big hit. Big hit.
Sweet.
Yeah, he definitely does not like that.
And I thrust the pike out at him again. 17.
A 17 will miss, unfortunately.
That's my turn.
Hylan, you're up.
Okay, I'm also going to run into the Spirit Guardians, and I'm going to throw 2 blades at the wasp. First one is a crit!
Nice.
That is 10 psychic and 36 sneak attack for a total of 46 points of damage.
Amazing. Huge hit. Huge hit. Yeah, this definitely took the wind out of the wasp's sails. Surprisingly, it is still alive, but just barely.
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna stay exactly where I am.
It is now the Hell Wasp's turn.
Welcome to Spirit Guardians.
Yeah. Wisdom saving throw? Correct. That's a 19.
He still takes half damage. That's 17 in half is 8.
Oh my gosh. So close.
Oh, come on.
Come on!
Well, let's see. It moves away from you, Corbin. Do you want to make your opportunity attack? It moves in the direction of Lulu. Yeah, you would both get an opportunity.
Well, Corbin would get to swat it first. If it's still alive after that, I will take my opportunity.
Go for it.
Corbin is going to swat it with the Hellfire Hammer with an 11.
That will miss, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, here comes the pike. That's a 27.
Yes!
Yes, that'll hit.
That'll be 10 piercing.
Okay. Renaissance. As this thing flies towards Lulu and Lulu shrieks in fear, just absolute abject fear, you are able to skewer this thing directly through the abdomen and yank it out with green ichor fluid, whatever you want to call it, wreathing your pike. And then you hear it just... and it falls.
I pick it up with the edge of the pike and I loop it all the way over my head and I throw it off the pike and splack it against the tree that Sunstar was attached to.
Nice. So, Mr. Hellwasp.
Lulu, come this way.
Over here, Lulu.
The Narsagon is still 120 feet out from you and gaining swiftly, but at this point in time, can't really do very much. Ophelia, it is your turn.
Let's run.
Yes, I suppose we should run. Does anybody need healing?
There's a nice car with harpoons.
Wizen, start the engines. We're going to run down this hill like Indiana Jones.
Ophelia will cast Bardic Inspiration on Hylan.
Hey.
Okay.
You're welcome. And then she will run back toward Wizen along the edge so that she's still, she's not too far away from her friend.
Wizen is at the bottom of the hill.
She begins to sprint down the slope of the hill.
There are only 2 Sturges left. They were planning on attacking Lulu, so they'll do that. They'll just fly over to Lulu and stick themselves to her. Let's see how well they do. Zap. Oh, that's a 24 to hit. That is 5 piercing damage. What Sturges do is kind of interesting. Once they're on you, you gotta take them off, because they'll auto success on their attacks once they're on you until they drain a certain amount of blood. So they drain 5 from Lulu of her delicious golden blood.
No!
She's like, get these things off me. And then the second one, that's a 21 to hit. So that's 6 piercing. So that's a total of 11 damage to Lulu. The Nightmare will move, so swiftly. It flies 90 feet in your direction, which drops it from 120 to 30 feet from your position. And our friend Haruman is on top of it. You see that Haruman has a pair of barbed reins around the Nightmare's neck. It is now Lulu's turn. Lulu has these things stuck to her, so she's gonna try to pull it off with a strength check. Yeah, that's a 0, like a literal 0. Yeah, she's trying to pull it off, but she does make her move, and she flies with the Sturges attached to her into your Spirit Guardians.
Good.
Corbin, it's your turn.
Ilmata. And he's going to cast Word of Radiance to try to nuke these little dudes off of her. DC 15 Constitution for both.
Number 1, that's a 7, that fails. And number 2, that's a 3, they are nuked. Give me the damage.
All right.
7 Radiant for each of them.
Pop, pop, and they are gone.
Are we fighting this thing? Are we leaving? I think we're leaving, right?
I thought we were leaving. Ophelia yells from the bottom of the hill.
We are leaving no Lulu behind, though. Let's move as a group.
Can I grab Lulu and drag her along with me?
She can actually go faster than you.
All right. Lulu, follow me and don't argue.
Well, I will tell you that Renascence is holding this position until Lulu is not here anymore. I'm not running away from Lulu.
So Corbin will stay. If Ren is staying and Lulu is staying, Ren is, whatever my character's name is, he's going to stay. Is Lulu injured?
Yeah.
Who is injured?
Stuck by the sturgeons.
Sturgeons?
It's canon.
Sturges.
Ilmata. Healing Word.
Nice.
For 7 points.
Renaissance, it is now your turn.
How far is the Nightmare from me, actually?
30 feet.
We're doing this.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Grab her and run.
It's gonna just chase us, right? It's flying faster than I can run.
So as you watch the Narsagon channeling all of its rage through its steed, barreling down towards you, Corbin, you've just grabbed Lulu, sort of put her under your arm. You look down the hill, you see Ophelia is running for the bottom of the hill. Hylan, you pull out your daggers, you're ready to face off against this foe. Renaissance, you pull Gargs off your back and you face face off against Haruman, and Gargoth says to you in a stentorian voice,
I really hope you know what you're doing.
It's a nightmare cliffhanger.
Thanks for listening. This episode featured the Dungeon Master stylings of Matt Gordon, with Tal Aviezer as Renascence, Andy Cannistra as Painbearer Corbin Shiv, Rachel Tamarin as Ofelia, and me, Carolyn Fox, as Hylan. This episode was edited by me and Tal Aviezer. Our original theme music is by Lauren Anker and Anthony DiMasso. Remember, if you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review.
what makes it more promontory is that...
Are we using promontory as an adjective?
Yeah. More promontory. It is a promontory.
And even more promontory than that.
It is so promontory.
I threw him off because I just said it out of nowhere. It's
fine.
Okay.
Never mind. We'll ixnay that. Continue, Matt. You're doing a great job. Don't let Tal.
That's fine. I don't give a shit. I say what I feel.
Good. Continue.
I'm gonna have Tal killed by a promontory. That's fine.
Yep. Yep. I'll have had that coming.
Yep.